Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard, live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Isn't this great? Like every day we get a couple of matches at least in the Euros, and our buddy Nigel Seeley joins the program now. He is on the Progressive Guest Line, and he is with PremierSportsPlays.com. Nigel, 2-1 on the program yesterday. Good morning, lad. How are you?
I'm not too bad. All good. Very fresh. Looking forward to the action today. Good couple of games yesterday.
Yes.
The mixed bag of results. I bet Croatia in play at plus 150, so that was a bit of a disappointment. But other than that, it was all right.
I would say that's ridiculous. They give up that goal in the 95th minute, and also I have Albania $3 to finish at the bottom. I mean, that's a joke what happened. Can't allow that to happen, Nigel. Terrible.
No, but they would have been bottom if they didn't get that point. But, I mean, it's been a bit of a mixed tournament for me. I mean, I haven't really hit any form, really. Just I had a good day yesterday. But the most of them are leans, really. The bets I've been putting down with matching money have pretty much lost. It's been a tournament very hard to read for me, actually, personally. So, you're my lucky omen. Every time I come on here, I seem to be okay. So keep that continuing to next week, and I save the nuggets for you guys.
Hey, I'll take another 2-1 today, especially the one that started the morning was a plus money price on the over. So the first game that we have starting, for those of you watching and listening live to the show right now, it starts in about an hour. We get Serbia versus Slovenia. Do you have a lean on this match, or do you have an official bet?
Well, I mean, I bet all these stuff, but sort of when I look at the matches the day before, I sort of have angles which I like. But on this one, I've already bet Serbia to win the match, but the price on Serbia now is nothing like the price that I took yesterday. They're around about minus 110. They've been heavily supported now to minus 142. So there's been a lot of money for Serbia. So I can understand why that money is. I thought they played really well in the second half against England. You know, England were dominant in the first 35 minutes, 40 minutes, couldn't get the ball off the Serbians. Serbians made some tactical changes, and Serbia were a much the better side against the tournament favourites in the last 30 minutes of the game. England were hanging on for dear life, really. So I give them a chance. I don't think you're going to see. I think they played with a little bit of fear in the first 25 minutes against this England side. Paid them too much respect. Then they realised they were beatable, and then they thought, well, let's have a go here. And they left it a little bit too late. The other reason I quite like them here is because these two sides have met recently. Well, not recently. Last year they met in the Nations League, which is like the third major tournament in international football from if you're a European perspective. You have the World Cup, the European Championships, and then the Nations League. Well, the nations sort of pitted against each other. And Serbia beat them 4-1 in Serbia, and then they beat in Slovenia. It was a 2-2 draw. So I would think that form line lends itself more to Serbia. I thought the Slovenia against Denmark game was a very, very poor match. Two really poor nations. I wasn't impressed with either of them. And just what I saw from the opening match, I think Serbia have a lot more from an attacking perspective. Mitrovic, who played for Fulham in the Premier League, Vahalovic, who plays for Juventus. These are two top quality goal threats. And I think that goal threat is thing that I like here. The other thing I like here today, more of a lean on this one, is the goals, because if you look at Serbia and the build-up to this tournament, they've been goal scoring for fun. Obviously, England kept the clean sheet, but forget about that match. You know, look at their match record coming in here. They've been scoring goals for fun and been conceding a lot of goals. And in the last World Cup, they took a similar kind of sort of venture form line from the last World Cup. They played Brazil in the World Cup opener in Qatar, the tournament favourites like England. They lost narrowly 2-0, didn't really offer anything. And then when they realised, right, we've got to perform here, they went and played a 3-3 draw with Cameroon, and their final match, they lost 3-2 against Serbia in an end-to-end match. It could have been 6-6. So I think the Serbians now have played their match. They've realised they've lost it, and they've got to win this match. If Serbia don't win this match, then they're out of the Euros. They've got to win it. A defeat here, and they're gone. A draw isn't going to help them. So I think they've got to go all out for the win. And Slovenia have got to go all out for it as well after a draw as well, with England as their final game. So I think the overs are the bet here. I don't really like playing the overs, but I do think this one here on this game, I just think the way the match is set up, the form line between the two of them, the history of the World Cups previously and the way that Serbia play, I would be definitely going towards overs rather than unders. And that's around about a pick 'em sort of minus 110, whichever way you want to go. And the other thing I want to take here, if your book allows you, is the Serbians are a very, very proud nation. I mean, they've gone through a massive war in the 90s and they've come out. I mean, look at Novak Djokovic. I mean, he's the warrior that he is. And these Serbian players have got that in them. They've got this kind of like, we're not going to get beaten ethic in them. And they've got some of physicality as well. They roughed Harry Kane up like he's never, ever been roughed up before. And when they were backs against the wall in the last World Cup and they had to win their final game against Switzerland, well, it went card crazy. There was 11 yellow cards in that match. And that is what Serbia do. If things aren't going there well, I can see some histrionics. I can see them dive along the floor. I can see them putting some really hefty tackles in. And Slovenia are a pride nation as well, want to get through to the knockout stages. So this is a big, big match for these two nations. And I believe it could be quite a feisty one. We haven't seen many yellow cards in the tournament so far. But if you could bet over 3.5 cards or maybe over 4 cards, statistically, I think that would be a decent play on this match because there is so much at stake for these two matches. When the two teams last met, Slovenia got 5 yellow cards and Serbia got 2. And in the 4-1 win, there was only 2 yellow cards. But when teams kick on and win 4, 5, 6 goals, you tend to see the cards go down because the nature of the game isn't so end-to-end. But if it's a close game, a lot to play for, I can see a few cards here today. So cards over, goals over, but Serbia to edge it.
All right, at 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific, England, Denmark, England minus 145, total 2.5, under minus 150, draw plus 260. How do you feel about England coming up here?
Listen, England don't do anything until the business end. I mean, these group matches, England get through, boring. They're not entertaining matches. That's what Gareth Southgate, the manager, does. That's what England team do, and they peak as the tournament goes on. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I think in tournament football, you want to be peaking towards the knockout stages and not at these matches because it's irrelevant. You want to be playing when the big guns come. England are just going through the motions. This is a really bad Denmark side. They're the oldest squad in the tournament. 10 of their players are over the age of 30. It's going to be quite hot this afternoon. I think England are fresh, young. I think England will win it, but it's not going to be pretty. I mean, under 2.5 goals is definitely an angle for me. I think that would be the bet for me if you're going to play the game. I don't think it's going to be at all exciting. If you look at England in the last 2 major tournaments, in the World Cup and in the European Championship, they won their first match and they won it quite convincingly in the World Cup and they won narrowly in the last European Championship. And in the second match, they played Croatia. No, they played Scotland in the Euros at Wembley, and they played America, USA, in the World Cup in Qatar. And both of those matches ended in a 0-0 draw. And that is the kind of thing that Gareth Southgate does. He gets the 4 points. He knows he's qualified for the next round, and he's safe. So I can see both sides here being very, very happy with a point. I think under 2.5 goals, but I do think England have the extra quality. And I'm quite surprised, given his goal scoring record, that Harry Kane is available at plus 140 to score any time in this match. I mean, he's prolific for England. Absolutely. He takes penalties. The last time these two teams met in the European Championship, Harry Kane scored in that match in the semi-finals. England won. And I do think that that is a disrespectful price for a man who scored 63 goals for his country in 93 caps, scored 35 goals for Bayern Munich this season in 31 matches. He scores more than the goal a game, and you can get him at plus 140 because he had a bad game against Serbia. He was marked out the game, but he still had one chance and he should have scored. He hit the crossbar. So I think that's a disrespectful fight. My opinion, England will win it 1-0 and Harry Kane will get the goal.
All right.
Okay.
That'd be something. How about Spain and Italy? Could this be cagey? Draw 2-1. Also 2.5 under minus 150.
I think if you can get anything bigger than 2-1 on the draw here, I think you've got to take it because the draw really does help both these sides. The way that Croatia will have 1 point, and if a draw here, Croatia can't qualify after the defeat, and then the draw again, and then you have the Albanians also with 1 point. So a draw will more or less see both of these teams through, and probably in first and second place. So. The things with these things, these are like conspiracy theories where you look at the draw and think the price is plus 2.10 or $2. You either believe that they'll play a draw, or you don't believe they'll play a draw. So if you believe there's a conspiracy theory and you think they'll play a draw, then if it's going to happen, the price is minus 1,000. So it's whether you believe the conspiracy theory that they'll play out a draw. I think what will happen here, I think the first 25, 30 minutes will be a good match. Okay, I think there'll be a stage of the game where both teams take the game to each other. But I believe if we get to 60 minutes in this match and it's a draw and it's a low-scoring draw, I think that's the way it will end. I think it will just fizzle out. Both sides will be quite happy. We saw what Italy were all about. They conceded after 22 seconds in Albania. They had to then get 2 goals. They got the 2 goals and they were comfortable to shut up the shop. And Albania never threatened at all in that match. Spain have probably, alongside Germany, been the most impressive team in this tournament. But they've always been a team that have struggled against the big nations. They haven't really got an out-and-out goal scorer, Morata. They've got the young 60, he's their main threat, but he's not really prolific at this level. Yamal, the young 16-year-old, is going to be the star for them in the next generation. So they're a side rebuilding. Italy aside are rebuilding as well. They're the champions, they're proud. I could see this being 0-0, 1-1. I like unders again, but I do think if you can get bigger than 2-1 the draw, it's worth a little bit of interest because I just feel that they may just go through the motions if it's 1-1 or 0-0 with 25, 30 minutes to go. Maybe one of them bets that you might want to do it in play, but obviously you're going to give a big premium away in play. But pre-match, I think it just makes logic, doesn't it? Spain, Italy, big two teams you want to see in the tournament, 2 teams with fantastic history, play out a draw, both more or less guarantee a place into the knockout stages and eliminate the minnows. That's how I see it playing out. Excellent
analysis as always. Best of luck today. Have a good weekend, and we will talk to you next week, okay?
Yep. Take care, guys. I'm not around tomorrow, so I'll see you Monday.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds great. There you go. Nigel Seeley, PremierSportsPlays.com on the progressive guest line here today. A lot of bets to get into that he likes. And I'm looking at Harry Kane. Shop around as always. Anytime goal is looking at several books, between plus 120 and plus 140 if you want to piggyback him with that prop. Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We'll get back to American football next. More bets to look at with the New York Jets. I think a couple of player props stand out this year. Pauly and I will discuss with the numbers next here on VSiN.
All right, check it out. Bookmark it. Get up there every day. VSiN.com. Lombardi on the NFL. Shoemaker WNBA. Wes Reynolds, on golf. Odds by state. Betting tools. Betting guides. Betting splits and best bets. Check it out. VSiN.com.
All right, we previewed the New York Jets in the first hour of today's program. I mean, there's a lot to like with this team if they can stay healthy, but isn't that the biggest if with every team in the NFL every single year? The offensive line was a disaster last year. Obviously, Rodgers down and out for the season after 4 snaps. They addressed the O-line. If Rodgers can stay healthy, there are some props available at DraftKings. And when you click on team specials, a bunch of teams come up. One of them would be the New York Jets. We'll begin with one of the wide receivers they brought in during the offseason. It's Mike Williams. To have 5+ receiving touchdowns in the regular season, that's even money. If you look at Mike Williams' career stats, injury prone, we all know that. He has played, technically he's been in the league, this is his 8th year. I'm not going to count last year, he only played in 3 games. So we'll cut it down to 6 years overall. He's had 5+ receiving touchdowns 50% of the time. 3 out of the 6 years. He had 5 back in 2020, the pandemic year. He had 9 the year after that, and if you go back to his second season when he really popped, he had 10 in 2018. How do you think that's going to work when they get next to the goal line?
I don't know. I think he's looking at Wilson.
More so but Williams, big body guy.
I don't know. It's a tough one. I know.
Here's the one. I would rather bet that at even money than Mike Williams at 3-1 to have 1,000 yards receiving. He's done it only twice, and I can't. Yeah. Even if he plays like 8 games, he might get 5 touchdowns, but he won't touch 1,000 yards under that scenario. So, but he's played double-digit games every year but last year. Aaron Rodgers to throw 30 passing touchdowns in the regular season is plus 125. Now, Aaron Rodgers' career, when you go back in Green Bay, don't forget he sat for several years to begin his career. First full season was 2008, when he played all 16 games, had more than 4,000 yards passing and 28 touchdowns. So I will say, I'll count his full seasons played at 13 because he's missed a bunch of time in other years, whatever. We'll call it 13 full seasons. Aaron Rodgers has had 30+ passing touchdowns in 8 out of those 13 years. Can he do that this year? His last full year with Green Bay, he played in 17 games. He had about 3,700 yards passing and only 26 touchdowns. But again, that was an off year for him. The 2 previous years, he won the MVP. His touchdown to INT ratio in 2020 was 48-5. The next year it was 37-4.
Aren't they going to be more of a run-first offense, though? I guess you could talk me into anything here. Where, yes, he has something to prove, but he's also coming off a big injury. And when's the last time he played at a high level? You also have an atrocious offensive coordinator, but you also surround him with good weapons. And it's a great 1-2 punch that they have with Williams and Wilson.
It's 3 years removed from playing at that super high MVP level.
I know, but also it's got to be a heavy dose of Breece Hall. Has to be. I mean, you had awful, just all-time bad quarterbacks with Wilson, Boyle, and Simeon. And the guy still had 1,000 yards on a pitch count and had 600 yards receiving. So you start with him. You brought in Moses and Smith to help on the offensive line. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe the offensive line does a bad job and can't protect them. It's much ado about nothing. I could see that too. But I think the game plan will be there where it's short passes and get rid of the ball, and the offensive line is improved, and they absolutely win 10 games and make the playoffs. It also goes back to why you have to love this defense, that they still won 7 games, beat Josh Allen, contained him in both meetings, had the Mahomes and the Chiefs on the ropes, and one of the best performances, maybe one of the few games that Wilson actually played well, and what they did down the stretch with how good they were defensively. So, but the Rodgers thing's difficult. Like, even will he have 5 rushing touchdowns is 35-1.
Yeah,
probably not. But
no, coming off the injury as well. I don't think he's going to be running very much. They did. Here's the thing: when he was in Green Bay,
how about a passing touchdown every game plus 850?
Maybe
that's another tough one, but but it's a good prop though. But
so he had the latter years in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. He had Devontae Adams, who is as elite as they get. Right? They were not afraid to throw the ball around the goal line to Devontae Adams. Like, we're talking 5-yard line and in. So that's why if he stays healthy, I think 30 touchdowns is within reach. And, like, what is the game plan going to be in terms of using Breece? Do they just try to plug it with Breece Hall and say, here you go, he's an absolute animal, and he's going to be tough to stop? Or do they kind of spread it out? He's got Mike Williams now, the big-bodied guy. Wilson is going – I think if Rodgers can stay healthy, there's no reason why Wilson can't be outstanding, right? So I think, like, the opportunities and the goal line passes are going to be there for this guy to just – put up some pretty good numbers.
Yep.
And for these other guys, but I don't want to bet this. Garrett Wilson has scored 15 touchdowns is 12-1.
No, he's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
The bet to make there is 1,500 yards at 6-1. He had 1,000 yards last year still with horrible quarterbacks, and the one we really like is Breece Hall, 1,000 yards rushing, 500 receiving, which is plus 450.
That's the one that
and he did that. And he did that last year. So where are you at now? What, best team in the division? Playoff team? Where are you think in the AFC pecking order?
I think, the other teams that are above every team depends on whoever you like in the AFC East. You cannot put them above the Chiefs. You cannot put them above the Ravens. Mm-hmm. I would like to throw the Bengals in the mix as well. And I think Houston can be really, really good this year. There's no reason why they can't be. Maybe you're concerned a little bit about the sophomore slump by C.J. Stroud.
They did humiliate him last year, but I guess it was a one-off and okay.
Yeah, I mean, that things can change. It's a year-to-year thing.
Yeah.
So I would say that any team in the AFC East, probably at best 4th, and then I would say maybe 5th or 6th, more realistically speaking. Is that completely outrageous?
I'd say I could see the 3-4 range. It's still Aaron Rodgers, and I get in the playoffs with that defense and a good running game.
Well, that's
those weapons. I mean, it's just you got Wilson as a game changer.
You have to love their defense. I will also add on top of that, though, the Chiefs' defense was outstanding last year.
Yep.
They could be just as good this season. The Ravens' defense, I know they lost some guys, but there's no reason why the Baltimore defense can't be outstanding. The Browns' defense is sensational.
Yep. At home, though. At home.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying overall the personnel.
Well, all right.
Is right?
Well, they were terrible on the road, though, but...
Sure.
The thing that scares me, though, again, is I keep coming back to the coaching staff. It's
you got to be concerned.
You have to be, but you're all in. I mean, if they can't do it this year and end the playoff drought, these guys are going to be gone. And I don't know, and I certainly wouldn't have brought Salah back, considering Vrabel and Belichick were out there. But I still think they have enough talent. Was it the best offseason? No. But it certainly is a lot better than what the Bills and Dolphins did, who just lost people left and right, while the Jets added people and improved their team.
Well, I know this, and again, it all comes down to whether or not Aaron Rodgers can play a full season. The last time that he had a chip on his shoulder, or he played with an edge, or he wanted to prove people wrong, it was after 2020. It was during the pandemic, right? Because they had a 13-win season. They were the 2 seed. They went to San Francisco and they got their doors blown off in the NFC title game. And they drafted during the pandemic. I'm going to get my years right here. They drafted for the future, and they did not draft to win now. And they thought that Aaron Rodgers was shot and done, but yet they would not trade him because he did not have a great year that season. And what did he do the next year and the year after that? He came out and set the world on fire and said, yeah, you think I'm done? You wanted to draft you're going to replace me with Jordan Love at some point? You're drafting for guys that are not going to play right now, even though our window is open. You're going to draft for guys who are going to play in a couple of years. Well, watch this if you think I'm done. And he came out and he was, at that age to play that well, it was incredible. And he won back-to-back MVPs. So I know that now people and they don't like the nonsense with the non-football stuff. I totally get that. But he's going to go out there and say, all right, I have my doubters yet again. I know I'm in my 40s now. I don't care. We're going to let her rip, and I'm going to just go scorched earth yet again.
And if something happens, they're okay with Taylor. They probably would have won 9 games last year if he was the guy.
I would agree.
I mean, they went 7-10 with Boyle, Wilson, and Simeon. So
if anybody,
they got Tyrod Taylor, forget it.
If anybody keeps receipts, it's this guy.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And he wants to pull him out and go scoreboard on anybody who, said he can't play anymore. So it's easier said than done. I think actually beyond him would be the offensive line still with me. Your number one problem would be the coaching. I got to see how it's going to go with the offensive line. Because what if they are not good again this year, have some injuries again, which could happen. Smith has been injury prone, and they can't protect Rodgers. And he's taken, 12 hits a game.
They'll figure it out. He'll tinker with the offense and get rid of it. And
Hackett will and Salah will figure it out.
Rodgers. Rodgers runs the show. It's not his buddy. It's all about Rodgers, and he'll do something with the offense and certainly more ground and pound with Breece Hall.
Oh, he loves Hackett.
I don't get it.
Oh.
I mean, he's that loyal to a fault there. I mean, his resume stinks.
Up next, not talking about the Jets, going to another team here. And Pauly's going to call them the most intriguing team in the NFL. Is that real or fugazi?
All right, can't wait. Our NFL betting guide comes out next week. Your ultimate resource for the football season. Team previews, division analysis, best bets, win totals, props. To get the guide, you must be a VSiN Pro subscriber. Sign up for the annual subscription for just $1.99. We'll throw in an extra month for free, 13 months, less than 50 cents a day, code FTM. To claim your discount and bonus month, VSiN.com/subscribe, code FTM. Here we go.
Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard are here to make you a friend of ours.
That would mean you were made guy.
Investigating what is and isn't legit.
That's a fugazi. All right? That's a fugazi. I looked at it for 2 seconds.
Seeing through the lines to make you a better.
I know you know. And I know you know I know you know.
The FTM Army is being sent for.
In our thing, you get sent for, you go in alive, you come out dead. And it's your best friend that does it.
These two wise guys would never steer you wrong.
Forget about it.
This is Real or Fugazi on Follow the Money.
All right. Excellent job as always, guys. Love the open. Real or Fugazi? Monty Williams had this planned.
Okay, well, I want you to explain this now. Yeah.
May 2023, fired by the Suns, got a $20 million buyout. He wanted to take time off. His wife was sick. He didn't want to coach. The Pistons gave him 6 for $78 million, the largest coaching contract in NBA history at the time. He was starting Killian Hayes. He wasn't playing the young guys. They went from, 18 wins without Cunningham down to 14 wins, and they set the record for 28 losses in a row. That knowing he had the guaranteed money, I don't want to do this anyways, and then I'm just going to...
So he was hoping to get fired.
Yeah.
He pulled the George Costanza.
Yes. Real or Fugazi. They went 14-68. because I saw this I mentioned this yesterday. I saw this all year by respected guys who covered the league. They couldn't believe what he was doing.
Well, the more and more, now that the story actually came to fruition, more people are coming out saying he did nothing this year. Like he was a terrible coach.
Yeah.
Now this guy's won NBA Coach of the Year in the past.
Yeah.
He was the Suns were really good underneath him.
He already had $20 million with what happened with the Suns, though, and then he wanted to take care of his wife, take a year off, didn't want to coach, and the owner kept coming back, and then he goes, okay, we're $78 million.
And then he was hoping to do a lousy job, and then, or maybe the life outside of basketball took so much out of him, he just didn't put everything into it.
Well, he's getting paid now $68 million not to coach the Pistons.
Okay, so he seems like a very decent human being, right? So I that's really difficult to get to, but maybe this is also like the dream scenario. He can go back, wife, spend time here, and now with him, why would you ever want to coach again? I know some people have a passion for working and getting up and doing their career or whatever they want to do with their lives every single day, but at this point, why there is no point. Sail off into the sunset, never coach ever again. Go be with your wife, make sure she's going to be okay, and that's it.
Yep. Okay, number 2. Belichick is doing this on purpose. Real fugazi.
No, what is that? Trying to date a 24-year-old?
Come on.
Well,
all people.
Would you not want to do that on purpose when you're 70-plus years old? Did you see the Ring doorbell now?
Of course.
Leaving the place
that's hilarious.
very early with the shirt off?
Yeah. All groggy.
He looks like a college kid.
I know.
After
Belichick.
Oktoberfest.
Yes, and Brady, of course, has to bring it up in the roast.
What's he doing?
You still got it.
Well, this is like...
Gronk was great, too. No wonder why you kept talking about Foxborough High. You were scouting.
No kid.
Looking at the date.
I will bring this up. The late, great Jerry Buss, owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. They would play a preseason game at the Thomas and Mack out here in Las Vegas every single year. It was always sold out. This is a great NBA town. I would go every single year. And to watch him walk in through the tunnel, I believe he had a rule that the... members of the opposite sex had to be 25 years or younger. And he would come and sit Gucci rows, what they call it. He would have 4 or 5 unbelievable-looking women with him, and there was no chance any of them were ever over 25 years old.
It got quite uncomfortable at the end. I know even Jeannie talked about it. Because these girls are... He's like in his 70s, 80s. These girls are 24.
It looked a little odd, but all I can do is tip my cap.
All right. Well... of all people, Belichick hanging out. The story where he meets her on a plane and he gave her an autograph, and now they're dating. Hoodie.
Isn't that your move?
Okay. Oh, I love it. Oh, Belichick.
All right.
It's good.
All right. The sport of soccer produces the worst beats overall. Is that real or fugazi?
I've done a 180 on this. Yeah, I think it's real. It's nonsense. With the totals... And even what happened yesterday with the Albanians, Captain Lou Albanos, where you come in with the 90 goal in the 95th minute.
Do they have rubber bands?
They did
on their cheeks.
I mean, it's just own goals, and you're never safe because of the penalty, the PK angle too, where it could be a penalty and you get a freebie as well. It's just you see this all year long, but it doesn't get enough attention because a lot of it's lower leagues and stuff. But once you get on a big stage like this, where the crap that happens in the 88th minute or later, and then how they make up with what is added time, where you think, there's no way there's 7-8 minutes left, and then it goes beyond that, where you see, okay, we're going to add 7 minutes, right? And then there's a goal in the 99th minute.
Yeah.
Well, how did that happen? You said there was 7 minutes of added time.
So generally, I would lean Major League Baseball, but I do think because of what you just said, that adds a new dimension. It's because at least you know how much time you have left in a baseball game. Like, where are we at in the innings played? Are we in extras? Whatever. Most times you have no idea what the extra time is going to be. Well, and then even when they go beyond what they said, it's going to be 7 minutes. Well, why are you playing 9, 10 extra minutes then?
And I'm an underplayer, so is Mike Palm. You won't believe the beats you take. Well, you'll see 1-0 in the 89th minute, and then they'll get not 1 but 2 to beat you and put it over 2.5. And like, how does this happen? How'd they get 2 on me?
Yeah.
But all of it's also based on, too, the ridiculous rules and the added time.
Yeah. It's a good question because games in which you're betting the money line compared to games where you're betting a spread, I mean, the beats in college football and the NFL are...
All right. Justin Timberlake, in the news for all the wrong reasons. He may have totally blew this and is a total fraud, real or fugazi.
It appears that I think that's probably real. It kind of pains me to say it. I think
doesn't look good for what... Yeah, I mean, might cost him Jessica Biel.
Well, he would be fine on the women front
Well,
anyway,
okay,
but
I can see that side of it too. But
Sure.
I mean, imagine coming home to that every day.
Are you familiar with what Britney Spears wrote in her
No,
autobiography?
and she celebrated his arrest on social media.
She said basically, cheers to the little things in life. So, you know that it was known that Britney cheated on him?
Yes.
Okay. The song Cry Me a River, which was
Yes.
a gigantic hit, he had an actress in there that looked exactly like Britney Spears, right? Well, she pointed out the reason why she cheated on him is because it was revenge, because he cheated on her countless times with other women. Over and over and over again. Also, were you aware that he convinced her to do something with her body that is now illegal in several states?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's that.
Yeah.
So there are several indicators out here right now that he's a very likable guy. He's a great entertainer, but overall, as a human, might not be one of the coolest dudes you're ever going to meet.
Yep. And the Fountain Blue pays him all that money to perform at the opening, and he stays at the Wynn.
Fails and he goes to a different casino.
Okay, the Chicago Bears are the most interesting team for the upcoming NFL season, and they're on Hard Knocks, Let's Go, Real or Fugazi.
Okay, before I answer that, I knew you were going to ask me. So can I throw back some other teams that I find very interesting to see if they're
All right.
as interesting as the Bears? The Steelers. Very popular team. I want to see how this is going to play out with Wilson at quarterback. The Browns.
How so?
Deshaun Watson,
Watson,
can we get a full year out of him?
And it's also Flacco. Now, we don't want any type of controversy. Get rid of Flacco.
Yeah, right.
After he took us to the playoffs, okay.
Chargers? Just because of the new head coach? They're not on the Bears level.
No.
Colts?
No.
Richardson, full year, what he
No.
can look like with Steichen as the... Okay, all right.
Bears, baby.
Falcons?
Okay.
I think they're super
Now they
intriguing.
finally have a quarterback and
Yeah.
a coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe a coach, but
To me, Texans, I'm high on them. I want to see what that... And two other teams in their own division, Packers again this year and Lions. I'm pointing out, I looked at every single team last night knowing this question was coming. Those are my most interesting, but I don't think any of them are in the same sentence as the Bears. I think it's this team probably with a bullet.
Well, how many times do we have to go back where the Bears were actually contenders? And you would think, oh, they can do something here. So how strong of a close to the season that they had. Good tweet from Warren Sharp. They were horrendous in the fourth quarter this past year. No, don't tell them how many games they could have won. Fields has been a disaster in practice with the Steelers. They got it right. Taking Williams. They have weapons. They have a good defense. You go back, probably Jay Cutler when they made the title game.
That's right.
And the injury where you think, and they love them in Chicago, how popular they are. The fact that there's playoff talk and the fact that the Bears could be dangerous. Like, what were they winning with Trubisky? They made the playoffs the 2 years, but what were they going to do?
Well, I mean, it's
the double doink. I know what happened, but this is
It's also 'cause-
it's an exciting time to be a Bears
Yeah,
fan.
the defense got a lot better last year. They have a ton of playmakers and talent on that side of the ball. They had an incredible offseason, the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is ultra flashy. If he lives up to the hype, he could immediately be better than a guy like Trevor Lawrence who came in with equal hype.
Absolutely.
And so there's a ton to be, just like they're going to be must-watch television for sure.
Yes.
Up next, In Pocket Plays on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3-to-1 odds. Nope. 5-to-1. Nope. 10-to-1. You're on.
All right, nothing to grade yesterday. The pending Panthers, $1.30 to beat the Oilers in the Stanley Cup. Can't wait for Game 6 tomorrow. And obviously, you could have grabbed 11-to-1 on the Oilers, down 0-3. Imagine if you had futures on the Panthers, and maybe a way of hedging, you also bet McDavid, Conn Smythe, you could win both.
Okay, do you
How
know
about that angle?
Jonathan Davis, who's been on this network many times now, covers the NHL Sirius XM. He told me last night that he found this. It was before the series started. There was a market up where you could bet that exact scenario.
That's incredible.
Connor McDavid wins the Conn Smythe, but Panthers win the cup.
Oh,
It was 10-1.
Wow.
I don't think I would have taken that.
No.
But the way it's
the
played
history,
out,
right? It
looks great today.
Yeah. But he's been Superman in this series, and then passing Gretzky, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. It's all Oh, here it is. Most points ever in a single Stanley Cup playoffs. Gretzky 47, Lemieux 44, Gretzky 43, McDavid 42. Gretzky 40. Gretzky's on the list 3 times.
Well, of course he is.
But 42, but still playing, and maybe 2 games left, and he just had 8 points in the last 2 games.
Right. I think actually you can still parlay that if you would like, and it pays around plus 150.
Yeah.
And that is for McDavid to win the Conn Smythe and the Panthers to win the series. Some books will allow you to parlay that.
Juicy. Okay. Now I don't know how widely available this is.
Ooh.
I'm going over the second period tomorrow. A goal and a half minus 145. The last 3 games, 5 goals in the second period, 3 goals and 4 goals. They come out, they're tight, they feel each other out, and then all hell breaks loose in the second period. Now we've seen 3 straight overs, but it's also been fireworks in the second. I need 2 goals tomorrow in the second period? McDavid might be responsible for 2 on his own. $1.45 over 1.5 goals in the second period tomorrow. And I love this team. I love their coach. I like their quarterback. I like Utah over 9.5 wins. I have 100-1 and 75-1 to win it. I think they make the playoff, obviously. They don't play Kansas State. Here's their schedule. Southern Utah, Baylor, Utah State, at Oklahoma State, Arizona at home, but you have Brennan, the new coach, with Fish going to take the Washington job.
Right.
So you have to replace all these guys because a lot of the guys left and followed him to Washington. But they're also at home, and it's a tough place to play. Arizona State, TCU, bad year last year. Houston, awful year last year, new coach with Fritz. BYU, holy war, at home though. Colorado, Iowa State, Central Florida. Cam Rising's back, great coach in Whittingham. Tough place to play. Usually they usually win most of their home games, or if not all. I got to go 10-2. Give me Utah.
No
over.
K-State on the schedule?
No K-State?
Okay, there's
No
also
K-State.
this, and I bet a bad number because it was the first number that it was the only book that offered it. I bet him plus 175 to make the playoffs, and I have them on parlays as well to make the playoffs. I'm seeing they were 3-1 at some spots. I'm seeing plus 280 today to make the playoffs. I don't think that's a bad bet either. 12 teams getting in now.
Right. You have to respect this program and Whittingham. And the move to the Big 12 and now Rising's back, absolutely. They just didn't have quarterback play last year. I mean, so you can't do when you lose that many guys and you put different people in.
Yeah. Okay, so I bet this, talked about this on the show yesterday. Klingon, first pick NBA draft, 6-1. He's down to plus 350 at last check.
Oh, man.
So we'll see how it goes. Again, the reason why he might not go number 1 overall, but I think the number continues to drop. And then next week, we'll see how the rumors go, how the intel comes out, and maybe adding more to him, or you can maneuver at that point with somebody else. Donovan Klingon, first pick overall in the NBA draft. And I bet Harry Kane to be the Golden Boot winner in the Euros. I tailed Nigel Seeley on that. He did not score in the first match. I got to come back today. I trust Nigel on this. Kane, again, he pointed out, 63 goals in 93 matches. Overall, plus 145 is what you can find anytime goal scorer against Denmark. He gets the PK shot. Yeah, absolutely. I got to bet this. I got to double down on Harry Kane
All
today.
right. Good luck. Let's dance. Great soccer card today. All right. It was so fun, and I can't wait for football, but that Paul Stone appearance Tuesday, just the UTEP under, right? And 4.5, by the way, widely available. That 5, he can't see him winning 4 games.
Yeah.
But then the breakdown on Liberty.
Oh, the Liberty breakdown was exceptional.
Yeah. And I know that thanks to all the tweets, too, about you can do much better than what he saw at DraftKings to make the playoff, and there was there's 5-1s out there.
Well, here's the thing.
But the breakdown of you bet them against App State on the money line, and then you just roll it over because obviously they're not going to get in because they play the easiest schedule in college football.
That's right.
So if they lose to App State, forget about it.
If you miss Paul Stone's appearance, you can go back, search Follow the Money, wherever you get your podcasts. He was on this Tuesday, and he was on in the second hour of the program.
Yes.
So you can find it all there. What I'm finding is, number one, not all books have yes/no playoff numbers up yet in college football teams. And number two, some books are offering a lot of teams. Other books are not offering many. I mean, their list of teams might be 20, 25 teams. That's it. So they're not getting into the Liberties of the world or the Boise States or other teams like that. I'm not seeing those teams even listed yet. So that I'm sure they're going to be on the way coming if they don't list them today.
And he also gave out Liberty minus 160 to win Conference USA and over 10.5 wins. And he has them a double-digit favorite in
all games, every game but one?
Yeah.
I think is what it was.
And a 3-touchdown favorite in 5 games. So they went 13-0 last year and then, got beat by Oregon. But that's why he also the case about the playoff. That's going to come back, I think, to hurt him because of what happened. 13-0, got in, and then lost 45-6. Got the major bowl game is what I mean.
Yeah.
And then lost 45-6 to Oregon. So.
I also like the breakdown overall again. And as a reminder, you're betting numbers, not teams. So a lot of times, again, people are going to look to bet a little to win a lot. They want long odds. They want, quote, value. But he pointed out that $1.60 to win Conference USA is a much better bet overall than taking that plus 215 to make the playoffs. Right? I mean, and that made a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're going to, once it comes down to like the blind resume and the teams that are going to be on the bubble this year for 12 teams making it, they're going to look back at the schedule for Liberty and say, wait, who they played who? It was the easiest schedule in the country? Yeah, no, that team's not going to get considered.
The committee won't take them.
Yeah.
I know.
You can see that possibility unfolding already.
Yeah. Good. August 24th. It's here. Getting close. Only a couple of games, but still. We go to Dublin. We got Florida State, Georgia Tech, and then SMU, Nevada. Have you looked at the August 31st schedule?
Well, do you have? Yeah, that's a really good schedule.
Yeah.
Would you give any consideration to going to LSU, USC out here in Las Vegas in person? It's a standalone game.
Yeah, so it's a Sunday night.
Yeah.
I gotta read. I don't know how good the Trojans are going to be. Got to read up.
I think the atmosphere would be pretty good for that game.
Yeah, that's. I think you're right. I think it'll be a solid atmosphere. Yeah.
We get a lot of good games out here. There's a game Thanksgiving week in college basketball. Duke plays Kansas. How good is that out here in Las Vegas? So we're getting a lot more games out here now that we have an NFL team, that football arena, and also that really cool T-Mobile where the Golden Knights play and the Las Vegas Aces.
I got a scenario for you. What if Redick takes the Pistons job? What if he was bothered by what just happened with Hurley?
Are they kicking that around? Is that possible?
There was one thing I saw out there.
Who do the Lakers move to then?
Is it Vogel? What's going to happen with Borrego? I mean, that's
LeBron is player coach.
What's going on here? The draft is Wednesday. You got all these teams that don't have a coach yet.
Yeah. How many teams will still be open? Right? The head coaching spot's still going to be open for how many teams come draft night? Are you still confident that the Lakers are going to take Bronny James? We bet him under 39.5 of the draft position.
Now, after the Rich Paul comments yesterday, and maybe that LeBron has kind of moved on from that idea of playing with his son.
Yeah.
Maybe the Phoenix thing happens. Well, he's only doing workouts with the Lakers and Suns, though.
Rich Paul said that that's done on purpose. He's going to do that with all of his clients. Specifically, only allow his players to work out for whatever teams he wants to get pick and choose. So then if the Suns pass on him, the Lakers say, no, we're not interested. Does he get undrafted?
No, no.
Someone's going to take a shot.
Even second round, say.
No.
Klay Thompson to Orlando. That's my prediction. Does that do anything for you? Good move, or nothing left in the tank. You'd rather have Paul George or someone like that.
I'd rather have them get somebody like Colin Sexton.
Okay.
Or somebody else that's available, for a little bit younger, more tread on the tires. They get a good 3. If they add a couple of guys to shoot from downtown, they can be. They're obviously not in. Nobody's on Boston's level, but they might be like the second best team in the East next year. They were close to being that this year anyway. Mike Palm in studio coming up next. A Circa football contest update, and they offer a yes/no betting market on almost all their menu. How much action do they see on the big no prices?